Good to go.
They wrote me off. I ain't right back, though. That's the problem. I ain't right back. Let's go.
Yeah, that's the bar of the year. That's the bar of the year, man.
Shout out to Geno Smith, man.
Lock in.
That's the bar of the
Lock
year.
in.
Geno was balling too.
Shout out to Russ.
Lock in.
You know what I'm saying? Russ Wilson, man.
Lock in.
He took it like a champ. You know, he could have thrown his coach under the bus, but at the end of the day, Geno came out with that dub, man. So
Yeah, that was a great game.
episode 82, man. Shout out to Jimmy Smith, man. Jags great. One of the best wide receivers ever. I think he may be a Hall of Famer too.
I don't know about that.
He gonna get in.
I don't know anybody from anybody from the Jags in the Hall.
Tony Baselli is
What Deion say? Deion said, some of y'all, man, y'all need a different color jacket. Deion said, my joint need to be like black or something. Y'all, yeah. Some of y'all,
man. If y'all listening, y'all gotta get Deion. Y'all gotta get Deion on the pod.
Clock in.
nah, that'll be fire. Yes, sir.
We on our Grussle, our grind and our hustle.
Grussle in the building. Yeah. Nico, what up?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the whole team here, man.
Said that AIKO.
You already know I'm here, man.
Yeah.
Last but not least,
Here with my brothers again. I just want to say I'm glad, I'm happy, and I am blessed.
Amen.
You back.
We are, here we are. Let's get right to the segment.
As Marshall said, episode 82, man. Appreciate y'all.
this is a BET Award Cypher beat.
Time to clock in, baby. Yeah.
But,
Ready?
Slaughterhouse. Slaughterhouse.
Joe went crazy. Joe Budden went crazy on that joint. I remember. Shout out to the fans, man. All the supporters.
Shout out to the haters. Do we got some haters?
Yeah, we got some
haters. You know, a lot of people got imaginary haters. I had to check and make sure. Shout out to the haters too.
Nah, we be getting some dislikes on YouTube.
Oh, for real? Okay. Yeah. That's how you know we on our way.
Clock in.
Let's get into it, man.
Sure.
Clock in.
All right, as we always do to start off the episode, shout out to AIKO Underwood. Nico got to get a close up on her swag. AIKO is a Virginia registered real estate agent who sponsors the podcast. As we like to joke, she helps us keep the lights on. Yeah, she still is Instagramless. So y'all gotta help us get her on Instagram so y'all can see that our sponsors.
We should call AIKO. Yeah, put the pressure on her. You have her number?
Yeah.
Call her right now, man. I'm tired of this.
All right, let's see what happens, man.
Call her right now.
It should be interesting.
Yeah, it could get
because y'all don't think we got a sponsor, so I don't think y'all think we got a sponsor. Y'all gotta realize she's not a bot.
She better answer to you. If not, this will be mad awkward.
It's about to be awkward.
Your call has been
Oh,
she forwarded the joint.
Dang.
Okay.
Wow. Maybe she's clocking in.
She did say, "Can I call you later?" She moved the "Can I call you later?"
Clock in.
Getting to the bag.
Maybe she's clocking in. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, she
doesn't like it.
She keeps the lights on for us. And
Nico's lights, that is.
She's great when it comes to educating people on the buying process, selling process, or if you're just looking for just general information on like what it takes to get into real estate, right? Like Austin and I have had conversations recently about it. A lot of millennials are struggling to buy homes because it's different, man. We got student loan debt, we got cost of living that's crazy, and a lot of us aren't really comfortable making that step. So AIKO is a great resource for you, even if you don't live in Virginia. So holla at her. If you go to clockinpod.com, that's CLOCKINPOD.com. We have a sponsor section that has her information. Click the link, so it lets her know that we sent you there. And
hopefully one day she'll have an Instagram, so it's just easier.
Yeah, I mean, y'all can just DM her, but you know, it's neither here nor there. Shout out to Terrell Owens, man.
Yeah, for real.
Despite Austin's awkward moment last week, it actually led to us getting some love from T.O. So last week we were talking about.
Yeah, we don't have to go into details.
Yeah, we.
No, talking about voice.
You saw his voice
went down.
You saw the bass went down.
I wasn't proud of that moment. But shout out to T.O.
Yeah, T.O.
We'll just leave it at that.
We showed him some love about his 40 time at age 49. And as Austin alluded to, he's a freak,
that's
man.
Okay. That's all right.
He's a freak.
That's okay.
All right.
Get in.
And he ended up. So we posted the clip on Instagram and showed him some love, and he ended up responding to it, saying, you know, I'm 49, guys. Thanks for the love.
And that's huge for us, for real. Like, you know, we call ourselves the best local podcast, but to have a Hall of Famer like T.O., who's well known, he's, you know, well accomplished, to tap in and show love, like, you know, that means a lot, man.
No, for sure. We've had some other people, you know, respond. Like, we posted the top 5 fictional basketball players. We had Dwayne Martin, who played Kyle Watson in Above the Rim as number 2. And he responded and actually reposted it on his timeline.
Yeah.
So that was dope. And then we
Mark
posted.
Jackson comment on that joint.
Yeah, Mark Jackson.
Great New York Nick.
Yeah.
Wait, not New York Nick. I'm sorry. He's from New York.
He was a Nick. Yeah,
he was a Nick.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a Nick because he played for Van Gundy, and that's why they always.
Was he? What did he have his best years? Indiana. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Pacers. Were his best.
I know him more as an Indiana point guard.
He played for Golden State.
I remember Golden State.
He ended his career.
He coached for Golden State.
Yeah, he ended his career, I think, with the Knicks, or at least in his later years.
Raptors, I think. Too.
Raptors, yeah. Actually, I think the Raptors is where he ended up ending. But anyways, he commented, and then we posted a clip of Mo Ali Cox talking about how he played against Montrezl Harrell. Montrezl responded to that joint. So we've gotten some love from some notable people, man. So
you know,
clock
we're
in.
gonna keep doing it.
Clock in.
All right, so there was a friendly competition between the Hamilton boys this past Saturday. So for those who don't know, we gotta introduce ourselves, man. I'm Marshall Hamilton, co-host of Clocking the Podcast.
Austin Hamilton, other co-host, aka the best shooter in the family.
Anyways,
just drop the link to my IG.
There's
at AHAM103.
I'm not. Nope. I don't know.
At AHAM103. I'll pin the post too, so y'all can see. But
there's one of 5 kids in our family. There's one of 5 kids in our family. 4 boys and a girl. We all hooped, and every now and then we compete, man. Yeah, we still, you know.
Still a bucket.
Still get it in. So randomly we'll just have competitions, right? It's never planned.
Shout out to Abed's dad.
AK, yeah.
Yeah, he's always stirring the pot.
Yeah. So the kid we trained, his dad was like, "Who's the best shooter?" And I think it's this. And
he does this every year.
Yeah, so we have been asked some extra time, and Nico came and got some headshots of us before we did our training last week. So I don't remember where I was. I think I was at the bathroom, and I come back, and they started the shooting competition. So the way it works is first to 11 gets knocked out. So the way it works is if let's say there's 4 players, if one person makes the shot, the next person makes a shot, and then the third person misses, they get 2 points. right? So the idea is, you know, you want to keep that number going and then without missing, because the more you miss, or you know, you don't ever want to strategically miss, but if you're going to miss, you want to miss off of
when there's none on
the board, or maybe one.
Yeah, we call growing up. We used to call it money in the bank. So like you said, if 2 people make it, there's 2 in the bank. You know, if you miss it, then you get that 2. If you get to 11, you lose.
Right, and you know, you get knocked out, and then whoever's last man standing. So I come back and they started this competition. So, you know, the first competition.
Whoa. We don't need to get into
the first competition. Austin won. I wasn't a part of it. So if he wants to count that,
doesn't matter. But hold on, this dude was trying to jump in at because it was at 10, right? I missed and ended up getting 10. Mind you, we're playing at 11, right? So if I miss one shot, it's over. And I'm at 10 for like the remainder of the game, and you know, check the Carfax, man. Your boy's clutch. Ended up matching up against Walt, oldest brother. Shout out to Walt, and yeah, man, it's something that I'm used to, right? Performing under the pressure, and I did what the greats do. And we'll just leave it at that. Again, AHAM103. If you want to look at it, go on my Instagram.
The next game, he shot after me. The game I did come and join, he shot after me, and
I was ready to get.
He was the first.
We had class to do.
He was the first or second one out. So
we're also playing.
Who you? So.
Oh, hold on. We're playing the 5 though, right? So like, sure, you miss a couple shots, it's over. If we play to 11, different story.
Exactly, I agree, and that's why I don't really, you know, Walt ended up winning it. It is what it is. If he wants to count that, whatever. But here's my petition. All right, this is more about that game's more about clutch shooting than the best shooting.
Yeah.
So it's more about clutch.
Pressure shooting.
If we want to talk about who's the best shooter, this is the competition I propose. Who can make the most shots? And this is 3-pointers without missing 2 in a row. So this is a drill that Austin and I have done in the past when we worked out together, where, you know,
and it's timed too though. So the way I do it, you got a minute, or you could do 2, whatever. You have to make 2 in a row. There's 5 spots. You got to make 2 in a row before you move on to the next spot. So if you make it all the way to the corner and then back around, you see who gets the furthest. But it's time, so it adds an element of like pressure.
Now, if you miss 2 in a row, are you done?
No. You just
so the drill that we did back in the day. You have
to start. You can't advance to the next spot.
Yeah, I mean that's one way of doing it. The drill that I'm talking about is we counted how many. So if I, you know, make one, that's 1. Miss it, obviously 0. Make 1, 2. Miss 2 in a row. That's it. I made that. My score is 2. It was a drill we did. I remember it was at Herndon High School. So it was you can't miss 2. If you miss 2 in a row, you're done. You miss 2 in a row, you're done. So who can get the highest score without missing 2 in a row? To me, that's the measure of who's in that for that day or that competition. Who's the best shooter in the family?
We set that up,
or we can do it your way.
That ain't no problem, Skip. That ain't no problem.
We got to make sure Nika's there.
We still got a race too.
I need a couple.
See?
Yeah. I need a couple more.
Yeah. He was talking all that cash about OTA. Talking all that cash.
I was running like Marcus Berry back then though. Shout out to Marathon Mark. I was running minimum 2 miles a day.
But no, it was a fun competition, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nick again for getting the footage.
People
enjoyed it.
On a tough note for all of us, I'm a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. He's a Tennessee Titans fan. Brandon is a Cowboys fan. Walt is a Niners fan. Did they win?
Nope. Lost to the Bears.
And then my dad's a Browns fan. So
both their teams won.
We won.
It was a tough weekend.
My other fan won too. Bears won too.
It was a tough week in NFL football for the Hamilton family. other than the Browns, which is for the last, I don't know,
I can't remember
however long I was born. I can't remember the last time in our family the Browns were the only team that won that day.
Yeah, season opener, especially the season opener.
And they almost lost. This leads to another kind of topic, but Austin and I ended up going to the Washington Commanders. Aiko's calling us. Let me ask you this real quick. Hey Aiko, you're live on the on episode 82. We called you out for not having an Instagram.
Where's the Instagram?
We called you out.
Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
We're just trying to. We're gonna have a petition out that we're gonna put out for you to get Instagram, but we wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt to explain yourself instead of us just bashing you every week for not having.
Because we do bash you. I personally bash you every week
for not having an Instagram. So,
you guys want my excuse?
What's your excuse?
I had health issues.
Yeah, well, okay. What about what about when did we start this?
We started this
like 5 months ago.
That's true.
So can we?
That's true. What was the top name?
Well, hey, I care about your health. I hope everything is okay.
It's not. It's terrible.
She's okay. She's okay.
She's fine.
She's gonna be all right.
She's fine.
She's gonna be okay.
What were the top names?
I
can pull.
I don't remember if we. Yeah, IG list.
And know that you can't. No. Don't put that on us. Don't put that on us.
100% you guys. See, it's not my fault, guys.
Don't put that on us. Hold on, I'm looking.
Yeah, he's looking. Can we get a 2023 commitment?
Real estate with AIKO. Boom.
Oh, that's actually pretty good.
It flows, right?
I think that's it.
I like that.
Real estate with AIKO.
All right, so you'll have it created by end of the week.
He said 2023. I heard that.
You know how you get presidential candidates to see if they're going to commit to run for the next election. Can we get a commitment from AIKO to get Instagram in 2023?
How do the politicians talk? They're like, yeah, whatever's best for the people.
That it is best for the people. It's best for you too. You guys heard it. You guys heard it here. Episode 82. AIKO committed to get an Instagram in 2020. Round of applause. All right. Well, that's all. We just wanted to. Yeah, pretty much. Give you an opportunity to defend yourself.
We do miss you, though, AIKO.
Yeah. It's been a while. We gotta all get together sometime soon. But all right, that's it. I'm not gonna hold you. And then again, I'm writing this down. It's what, September
13th, 8:30 p.m. It is 72 degrees outside. Partly cloudy. I don't know the exact coordinates, but yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll be following up with you. All right.
You have to teach me how to create one. I don't know how Instagram works. I know how to boomerang works. I know how to boomerang.
So if you can boomerang, you can create an Instagram. So
how do you know how to boomerang and not?
You know, Facebook has the.
Oh, do they?
They have the little reels, or whatever you want to call it, reels, I guess.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, which the reels that we have or that I have of you guys have been really popular.
There you go.
Imagine
if you had an Instagram that we could refer them to.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys aren't wrong.
Yeah, but all right. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for calling back.
Yeah, of course. Hope you guys have fun.
All right. Feel better. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Bye. All right. You guys heard it.
She said it.
But yeah. What was I about to say? Oh yeah, we went to the game. Washington Commanders, Jacksonville Jags game. It was in, technically Landover, Maryland, where the Commanders play. It was cool for me because it was my first NFL game, right? For those who don't know, I've been a Jacksonville fan since '95. There should be a drop for that one.
I was going to say, I'm looking for one.
Should have been the Kawhi.
Yeah.
Nah, it has to be a sadder joint than that.
Yeah, I need a.
Yeah, it has to be a little bit sadder. We gotta create a drop for just for when we bring up the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I still don't know what that drop means. Can you explain that, Bunny? Where's that from?
I have no clue. You caught me off guard. I have no idea. I don't know why that's on my computer.
It's great. It works every time.
Yeah. That's probably
It works every time.
That's the funniest drop we got. But it was cool for me to experience an NFL game, but to see my team play was awesome, man. I mean, it was a great game if you watched it. We ended up losing, but it was entertaining, man, and we were able to get some pretty good seats. I got a video of them scoring, got some pictures and all that, and the overall experience was just dope, man.
The cool thing of like, if you ever want to make friends, go to a like an away game, right? If your team's playing your whatever local team and your team doesn't live there, go to that game and you're gonna make some friends.
Absolutely.
Like immediately you see some Jag fans and you're like exchanging numbers like an hour.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's the cool part about sports, man. Like it doesn't matter about, and it's a life thing.
It's a great unifier.
Exactly. It doesn't matter about your background, what you look like, where you're from, what you believe in. You know, you're there to support your team, and in that moment, man, that's all that matters. So it's always cool. Like I remember going to watch the Browns play the Titans. In the dog pound, not many Titans fans, but the ones that you do meet, it's all love. So now I'm glad you enjoyed it, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to some of my coworkers that hooked me up with some tickets because I used to work for the Washington Commanders, so it's cool to still have those relationships, man.
Yeah, and honestly, man, if you listen to our first episode, Unity is Greater Than Division, you look at something as simple as having one thing in common, and that's a sports team, right? And for those 3 hours, you don't care about race, you don't care about politics, you don't care about gender, sexual orientation, you don't care about none of that crap. All you care about is, we're rooting for the same team, we're on the same team. And that's how life should be, man. Like you don't need to have everything. These days, if you don't believe in this and that and that and that and that and repost this, and if you're not against that, then I don't want you in my network. That's okay. that's the media and the powers that be want everybody on one extreme side against the other extreme side, and that's just not how human beings operate. Like we're not designed to just be that. Like human beings are designed to get along with one another, right? Like that's, and it was 9/11, right? The day of the game. So, you think about that moment, and regardless again of what you believe in, what you look like, gender, all that, everyone was unified during that time. And whenever there's like a 9/11 memorial or whatever, everyone can remember where they were, like extreme detail what happened that day.
It's sad that times of disaster and tragedy is like really the only time you get to come together as one, but it puts things in perspective.
Yep. No, for sure. But yeah, man, it was a tough week for the Hamilton family, man, and
don't get me started.
Yeah,
it's week 1. We got blasted last year in week 1 by the Cardinals and ended up winning the division and being the number 1 seed. So like I'm optimistic, but yeah, it's still frustrating, man.
The way that all of our teams lost was just.
I had a bet with Corey too.
It's tough, man.
Lost a bet with Corey.
Corey Myers?
Yeah, you know the Giants.
Oh, yeah. Because Big Corey's from New York.
A couple drinks, but
that's tough. All right, let's get into the clock in or clock out, and it's related. It's related to one of the Hamilton.
Two. Brittany.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Brittany's she's
a real.
She has a reason to be a Cowboys
she's a real
fan.
Cowboys fan.
So Brittany and Brandon Hamilton, Cowboys fans, right? And I've been saying this for a while, but you know. Yeah, it bothers me. So this is the clock in or clock out. The Cowboys are the most overrated franchise in sports today. Not just football, not just in their division, but the most overrated franchise in all of professional sports today.
Absolutely.
I think everyone knows my answer, but
absolutely.
What do you
think? Absolutely. I can't remember the last time they've won, not even just like a Super Bowl, but like, have they won a playoff game?
20 years, bro.
No, they beat.
Nah.
They still haven't?
They haven't won a playoff game, dog.
It's been like 20 years.
Yeah.
Dog.
So when they lost to the 49ers, was that the
They won a division, so they had to bye, I think.
And then they lost. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Because the 49ers were they were a lower seed.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think because Romo didn't win a playoff game, and if
Bro,
Romo didn't,
high school the last time they won a playoff game.
Yeah, and
that's wild.
It's the fans. I actually like the Cowboys. I like the franchise.
Yeah, I want them
I want them to be.
If they're on TV, I want them to win. Typically,
but it's the fans, dog. Y'all can't seriously think y'all are gonna win the Super Bowl every year. Like Dak, I'm sorry, I'm just not a believer, man. I've never been a believer. I like him as a leader, but if y'all are banking on him to lead y'all to the promised land,
he's not Moses.
Then you're gonna be disappointed every year. But yeah, I mean, no question, man. Most overrated franchise in all sports, probably ever. I'm not just today, ever. When you're a big cash cow like that franchise and all the attention that they get, you're labeled America's team. A lot of expectation, a lot of fake expectation, and to not deliver year in year out, yeah, man, you deserve that label. And I could, if you ask a real Cowboys fan and who's subjective, they'll probably agree. Yeah, we're the most overrated franchise.
A lot of these fans are delusional, but they should. They should. I mean, the thing about the Cowboys is versus a Commanders fan, right? We're at the game, and Commanders fans are yeah, I know we're trash.
Yeah,
I know
they expect them to find ways to lose, which
yeah,
they almost did. I was saying that the whole day on Sunday.
Yeah, I was they're gonna find a way because fans are talking crazy to me.
And then a pick comes 5 seconds later.
100%, 100%. And I called it. I said we're about to get a turnover, and literally he threw a pick.
If it wasn't the Jaguars, no disrespect, actually disrespect to the Jaguars.
Hey man,
they probably would have lost the game.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. So I'm clocked in on it. But here's the thing that has always bothered me, right? When you're a Jags fan, the disrespect that you receive on a consistent basis is it's almost intolerable at times, right? So the reason why I can't stand Commanders fans, Cowboys fans, is because they talk the most trash out of any team to me, right? Any fans of any team to me, they talk the most trash. All right.
I have a question. Obviously, there's history with Cowboys, Commanders too, but this goes in any sport. What is the grace period of you know, when they win a championship to like the present. Because like he said, it's been like 20 years. To me, like, that's got 2 decades, dog. You can't bring that up in an argument. I'm sorry. Especially if a lot of these people weren't even born.
Most weren't. Or,
when they won these championships.
Or they don't remember it.
No, they couldn't name who the head coach was on those teams.
No.
So, like, what is the grace period? Is it 10 years, 5, 20? Like, what
to me,
is
it has to be in the decade, man. 10 years. 10 years. To me, it has to be in a decade.
So it's safe to say, if you bring that up in an argument, it's a complete wash. Like, you can't. No.
And that's what I was going to get to. You know, all right. The thing is, most people don't know, like, the Jags track record, right? Right. And I get it. We're not a sexy team. We're not in a sexy market. Our jerseys are the best thing we have going for us. You know what I'm saying? But if you look at from the time the Jags came into the league, 95
they got
until
the pool too at the stadium.
Yeah, the stadium's dope now. But if you think of 95 to 2000 to 2022, right?
We have an edit here. They won a playoff game in 2019.
Who, the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who'd they beat?
I'm looking to see that now. But in the past 25 years, 3 playoff wins.
3?
3.
Okay. From 95 to 2022.
Have made it to the NFC Championship and those 3 wins.
Yeah, that would be 1998.
Wow. Maria was born. And Maria's 24 now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the last, since 95 to 2022, the Jags have been
the Jags have had more playoff wins than that.
Dog, can I finish?
Sorry.
You didn't interrupt me 7 times. Can I finish?
It was Seattle.
That's why Nico keeps going back and forth.
The freak was on Seattle.
All right, for the 7th time, from 95 to 2022, the Jags have been to 3 AFC Championship games. And they have, I don't know the amount of wins, but it has to be close to 10 playoff wins since then. Redskins don't even come close to that. The Cowboys don't even come close to that. So I mean, the thing is, we've had more success since our existence. We've had more success in both teams. The Cowboys are on TV every week, and I get it. They are, even though they're the most overrated franchise in sports. To me, second would be they're not a franchise, but second would be Notre Dame football.
Oh my gosh! Don't get me started with that.
But they have the best marketing out of any franchise in sports.
But do they?
Well, not now, but I'm saying them coining themselves America's team. Like what you think about it?
They're an accurate reflection of what America is.
What makes them America's team? They're not in. If it was a team in Washington where the nation's capital is, if it was even the Patriots,
right.
But what makes them America's team? Who can answer that question other than the fact that they branded themselves that? So from a branding perspective, whoever did that in like the 70s, it's a genius.
It's like the pizza company that says we have the number 1 pizza.
The best Papa John's, the best ingredients.
Small town pizza spot ever has the number 1 on their door.
So they marketing wise, I give it up to them.
I'm sure there'll be a doc on that.
But you think about it, they're like the Yankees without the championships.
How many do the Cowboys have?
3.
That's it?
No, I think they have 5. They have 5 championships total. I mean, the Redskins have.
In the 70s.
I mean, so I was joking with a girl who was talking trash in the at the Commanders game behind me, and I brought up, look, y'all have 5 Super Bowl wins. 2 of them were in like 1938. And
those don't count.
I was like, those don't count because black players weren't playing back then. So I'm sorry, no disrespect. If you have an NBA championship,
and they dribble like this,
or NFL championship before black players were allowed, it don't count to me.
If you couldn't carry, then they don't count. If you couldn't carry, it don't count. So,
if you're dribbling with your right hand going left, Yeah, nah.
The spin move is your greatest tool. You got to
you couldn't dunk
3 times on your spin move.
You couldn't dunk.
That's how you protected the ball.
If he was wearing chucks.
Yeah, dog. Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, moving on to one of the main topics, and it's also related to football, but there's a life lesson here, right? Those who follow football understand what the red zone means. For those who don't follow football, the red zone is 20 yards away from the touchdown, right? If you're on offense and you're trying to go score on the other team, once you get to the 20-yard line, from that point on to the touchdown line, that's considered the red zone, right? And if you look at this week across the NFL, more teams beat themselves than the teams that won by just outperforming them, right? If you really look at the games, there were more teams that just beat themselves by not converting in the red zone. And basically, what that analogy is it's synonymous with finishing, right? Finishing. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about is, man, social media, even our own network, like, we glorify the start so much. We glorify getting to the red zone so much where, I'll give you an example. Man, I did 3 years of college, but...
Why do you celebrate almost?
Yeah, but,
We on our Grussle, our grinding, our hustle.
I didn't like my major, so then I tried to switch to another major, and then this became too expensive, so I quit. I almost hit my quota, but it was already designed for the other company to win. We would have won this game if the referees didn't make that call, or if my teammate made their free throws, or if the coach didn't take me out the game, right? And these days, that's acceptable. Like, this victim mentality stuff is being pushed so much, right? I was gonna start a business, or I started a business, but I didn't. My family didn't support me. So we talk about winning a lot, right? Because these days, what's pushed is excuses and victimization. And I'm a victim, and this happened because of this person, and blaming, and there's no accountability, right? So and also, again, going back to those NFL teams, it's synonymous with life. Most of our issues have nothing to do with other people. We beat ourselves. We beat ourselves. And if you're a Christian, a lot of us even will blame the devil. It's the devil did this. No. That was you. That was you. So, I wanted to ask you, just life perspective, but also like in basketball, right? Again, not trying to like put the spotlight on us, but I also want to be clear that like we have credibility in these areas, especially from a sports perspective. We do. We don't just say stuff because we got it from a book, or we saw Eric Thomas say it, or we saw some guy on Instagram speak about it, or whatever. Like, we have experience with this stuff, and then we want to help you. We've been in so many games, man, where either we were down in the last 4 or 5 minutes, or it was a back and forth. And there are so many teams throughout our history of playing together as a family that, oh man, we should have beat them, but blah, blah, blah. So how do you approach finishing? Like, let me ask you this, how do you prepare to finish? Let's start there. Like, how do you prepare for moments where you got to finish? Mr. Clutch Shooter.
I was actually going to bring that up, but it's about being in the moment, honestly. We just talked about the little shooting competition, and I even said it in the clip. I forgot what you specifically asked, Nico, but you said something like you were down, or you were at 10, and like, what was the mindset? And I basically, like, I wasn't thinking. Like, I was in the moment.
Yeah.
meaning all I can focus on is this one shot. And if I do that repeatedly, I'll put myself in a situation to win and finish. And what did I do in that shooting comp? I focused on one shot at a time. Ended up winning the competition, right? It sounds silly because of, family, whatever, but like, it all matters, right? Like I look at, you talked about it, probably the biggest win in my high school career was a district championship game, and we were down 19 at halftime. We had beat this team twice. One of the best teams, not only in our region, district and region, but in the state. They had legit 3 guys over 6'9". And this is at the public high school level. That doesn't happen. Our tallest guy was 6'3", that played like significant minutes. And we're down 19, and, most people's mindset would be to reflect on that half and, harp on what they did wrong. But my mindset was, look, I got time, man. Like, there's still plenty of time. It's not over yet.
Right.
And I was confident enough to say, hey, we're going to win this game. But, again, you got to be in the moment, man. You can't harp on the past. You can't try to predict the future, because you can't. If we could predict the future, then we'd be living in utopia right now. So it's about living in the moment, understanding, there's certain steps to get to that finish line, but you gotta start for what you're doing now. Finish that small task, finish the next small task, and keep finishing the other small task. Eventually, you're gonna be at the finish line, and then you've already built up that confidence.
Yep.
And then it's an easy walk to that W, man, to that finish line.
No, that's awesome. But I also wanted to ask you this, because in a game, right? Yes, like that's what you should be thinking. But I feel like there's also things that you've done, that we've done, other people have done, like before the game, to have that confidence in, oh yeah, we're gonna, like in the shooting competition, I just gotta focus on the next shot. Well, you could think that, but if you didn't get reps in your whole life, you're not gonna have that confidence. So like, how do you? We talked about this last week. I'll give you an example, right? We talked about the game Beat the Pro. Right? It sounds like, oh, it's just a game, it's a shooting game. No, like the way the game works is, if you make a shot, it's +1. You miss it, it's +2 for the other team, the imaginary team. First to 20 wins. So when you put yourself in situations where it's like, all right, the other team, imaginary team, has 18 and I have 10. I got to make 10 in a row to win, right? I remember Coach Wheelan in practice, he put scenarios up. This team we're scrimmaging, this team is down 6 with 2.5 minutes left, right? It could be in the gym. And here, look, we talk about the gym a lot, and it honestly, we don't freaking care about, like, how much you weigh when it comes to, like, certain, like, obviously that's an indicative of your, commitment to your fitness, but everyone's body is different, right? It's more about your habits. And I was thinking about this today. Yesterday I worked out. My life's been really busy lately. I haven't been able to get in the gym as much. But little things like, I said I'm going to do 12 reps. It's the 6th rep and I'm dying. I could easily say, you know what, I'm going to do 1 more or 2 more reps. No one will know, and no one will really care. And it's just me working out, right? No trainer, no partner, nothing. But I decide, I got to get to 12. Like, I'm going to finish these reps, right? Like, that stuff matters when you get to life, when you get in game situations. It seems small, but that's why I asked, like, part of the question is, like, what what have you done in your life? It didn't have to be like a long, like drawn out answer, but like you obviously have confidence that this is I'm going to finish, but it didn't. I'm sure it didn't always start out that way, right? So I guess what are some practical things you could say or examples you could give of like I prepared to finish in this way. Here's an example of like what I've done. This is why I'm confident in game situations or whatever.
Yeah, and this doesn't just relate to basketball, but this when I just look at the chapters in my life, I think I've understood that there's seasons, but there's also it's a roller coaster. Like if you're gonna go through stuff, man. And I've been going through stuff, whether it's on the court, personal life, my whole life, right? Like, again, I remember, we've talked about this, but when I was, 9, I was playing up with Coach Robinson, freaking Gum Springs, playing, against older kids. This kid picked my pocket twice and scored, and I'm crying, right? That was one, scar. Fast forward to, AAU getting blasted in nationals, Shane Larkin's team, Barry Larkin's son, Team United, I think. But like, just taking L's, man, taking L's. But understanding at some point, like, all these scars, I'm gonna be able to look at this and look at these scars and be like, I'm still here. Like, I made it. So understanding that, look, man, you're going to go through stuff. You're going to miss shots. You're going to lose games. But those situations that you've been in, and here's the thing, sometimes you're not going to know during the storm, right? So that's why it's always good to kind of reflect and look, man, like, it's actually not that bad. Like, I've been here before.
100%.
100%. We talk about basketball. I can give you numerous times where I've been down, and it's like, wow, I can go back to my senior year against Chantilly District Championship, down 19, came back and won. I can go back to.
I remember AAU games, travel games.
Yeah, AAU games. Even to the present, dog, like. Playing in this Lifetime League. How many times have we been down by double digits and you can see there's a stoic demeanor around, not just me, but like throughout the whole team.
Yeah. We're not.
It's because we've been here before, man.
Mm-hmm. We were down 20-2. Shout out to Magic Dorsey, one of the best basketball players I played against, one of the smartest basketball players I played against. We got down 20-2, right? And I subbed in the game. At this point, I wasn't starting. I was new to the team, and I was trying to earn my spot. And I think he got fouled or you got fouled, and we're shooting free throws. And BA, shout out to Brandon Allen, said to Austin, he was like, "Yo, are you worried? Are you worried right now?" Austin was like, "Nah, I'm not worried at all." And then Magic looked and was like, "Yeah, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
we're in trouble." We went on a crazy run, ended up winning the game by like 3. So, yeah, you said it, man. We talked about this last week too. You got to expect. At some point, you're going to expect. All right, this storm's going to come.
And sorry, everyone's gone through something, man, and I can guarantee, with time, you've gotten through it. So like. It may not seem like, you may not be used to certain situations, but I guarantee if you reflect throughout your life, and it's like, man, I remember that time, my car wasn't working, like I needed some gas, and then all of a sudden, like, I got a raise or something, like, this is real life, man.
But look, you said some people, everyone's gone through something. Doesn't mean they learn from it though.
And that's what I'm encouraging. And that's what I'm saying. I'm encouraging them to reflect back.
Exactly.
Like, if you literally go back into your life and be like, man, just think about some hard times, or at least you deem them as hard times, and look where you're at now, right? Well, you've gotten through it.
Yeah, and part of the problem is,
and lean on that.
Yeah, 100%. But part of the problem is when people are always in survival mode, they're not thinking, what can I learn from that? They're not thinking ahead. They're thinking, oh, I survived that. And then they go right back to the things and habits and the association or whatever that got them in that situation. They don't change anything. But the thing is, you're not going to survive. You're not going to survive or get through them all successfully, right? If you don't make some changes.
Exactly.
You may get through a couple, but listen to a sermon by Jonathan Evans, Tony Evans' son, and he was saying how literally exactly what you said. He was like, the enemy wants us to focus so much on the storm and on what we're going through that he wants us to forget, I didn't know how I was going to pay rent 3 years ago, and miraculously I got, funds to not only pay rent, but save some money, right? Like, we forget about those things.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say when it comes to finishing is, it's all mental, and that may sound like, oh yeah, of course it's all mental, but all right, let's break it down. In these NFL teams, like from a talent, from a physical ability perspective, other than a select few teams, most of these guys are very similar in physical ability, even like football IQ, right? But games like football and the game of life, it's a moment by moment thing, right? It's a moment by moment thing. So part of why these teams didn't finish and why people don't finish is because they play not to lose. They don't play to win. They're just trying not to lose, right? Because a lot of the teams that lost this weekend had the lead at some point, or had the opportunity to take the lead. And when we get some of those wins, like we talked about, you survive through something. Sometimes as humans, we're just like, we're just gonna stay still, right? We're just gonna stay still. I mean, think about it as, man, I ran out of gas. Someone gave me some gas on the side of the road, and then I drive a couple miles and I just stop. When it's like, no, you have gas to go like 100 miles down the road, but you're starting and then you're just stopping and you're not really going anywhere. So just lastly on this topic, finishing, man, like there's so many, and this is a life thing, right? I'll give a sales example. You could do everything right in sales to get the ball, and this is like literally like an analogy that sales leaders talk about. Getting the ball across the end zone line, getting across the finish line. You can do everything you can to get it to that finish line. But if your competitor knows how to score in the red zone, none of that crap matters, and you don't get paid anything. You don't get that deal, and that person does. So there's literally books, seminars, motivational speakers who just focus on closing, because those are the people who get paid, right? Those are the people who get the promotion. Those are the people who, finishers. They change the world, man. They change family history. Like there's a book, John Maxwell, Failing Forward. He gives examples of people who did like amazing research up until a certain point, and they were revolutionary for their time, but no one believed them, so they stopped, and then someone else took that, and then all of a sudden Thomas Edison, or this person.
You remember
Tesla? I mean, the aircraft, like the Wright brothers were not the first ones to try to get humans in the air. Like there were a ton of people.
Have you guys seen Breaking Bad? Do you remember forget what their names were, but literally
the wealthy couple.
Yeah. Like that was all Walt. Walt was supposed to be them, but I guess he sold his shares just like mad early, and was able to put a down payment on the house, but lost out on an opportunity to literally not have to sell whatever he was selling. So yeah, he said, man, I mean, there's doers and then there's finishers. What side do you want to be on?
Yeah.
Be a finisher, man. It'll change your life.
100%.
Personally and others around you. And here's also another thing to add. Sometimes being a finisher, man, you're not going to be liked. You're not. You might be on a lonely path, man. And that's okay because you understand, like we talked about last week. There's no emotion when it comes to a goal. There's no emotion when it comes to that W.
Yep.
So understand that too, right? Like once you take that leap to become a finisher, you might leave some people behind you. You might upset some people, but what really matters.
And you upsetting those people has nothing to do with you. There are going to be people in your life who they got to the 20-yard line, maybe even got to the 5-yard line, and they didn't finish, and then they gave up. And you finishing reminds them that they haven't finished. Or there's going to be people who just, with the right intentions, because they went through trauma and tragedy or whatever from them not being able to finish. Hey, buying a house, you gotta maintain it, and I've heard tons of stories of landlords who tried to rent out and it was a disaster and they end up losing their money. I don't know if you should get into real estate. I don't know if you should leave college and not finish and to start your own business. I don't know if you should just try to become an actor and to skip college. There's gonna be people in your life who, again, they're whether it's with the wrong intentions or right intentions, they're gonna kind of almost try to pull you from getting that finish line. Right? There's opposition. You gotta push through that stuff.
I forget there's a quote, but basically, like people, they like to praise, when you start something, like, yeah, that's great. But, once you get to that finish line, it starts to get quiet.
Oh, 100%.
Even this podcast, like when we first started, like, oh man, like love it, you guys are great. But, with the longevity going and then seeing some success, you don't hear that noise as much.
Nah, because a lot of people started podcasts and didn't finish, but great point. Our goal with this podcast, we never did it for applause. We don't do it for social media likes. We would have conversations, and based off of things we've gone through in our life, we felt like we could add value to people, just from our perspective. That's what it comes down to. We want to add value to people, and we want to kind of have an anti-movement of what's going on the rest of social media in the world, which is victim mentality, division, lack of accountability. Or some people, they have those things, they don't have those issues, but they don't know where to go. They don't know how to overcome certain things. They need to hear some of the stuff that we're talking about. Last thing on this, you brought up people trying to pull you back. I was listening to Eric Thomas's podcast, Secret to Success, and they had a guest. I think it was 4 guys, and they basically what ended up happening is this dude was during the pandemic, and fresh in the pandemic, where like aisles were getting cleared, and he happened to be in the bread aisle, and I forgot what he was doing at the time, like for his profession, but he realized like none of these bread companies, they're not owned by any black people, and like black people consume bread like just as much as any culture, right? So he's like, it's crazy that we don't have any representation like grocery stores as a black-owned like gourmet bread company. So he called his boys up. Was like, hey man, this may sound crazy, but like we need to start a bread company because everyone needs it. Our people buy it, and just in general, like other cultures need to know like we can make we can make progress in this industry. And he was like, they're like, yeah, like we know this dude who called us. We know when he puts his mind to something, like he's gonna do it. Like he's gonna finish the job. But even this dude was like, I didn't tell my dad until I could give him physically a loaf of bread. And what he was saying was, some of you need to wait until you have done some work to start exposing your family and friends to your idea, because when you're in the like early stages, or I'll just call it the idea phase, people can steal your dream, man. So
steal your dream, or just diminish your dream,
right?
And say, I don't think you should pursue this. Like, take the safe route. Go to school, get a degree, get a 9-to-5.
Right. Or you already have that. You're already successful in your 9-to-5. Look what you're throwing away. Your family is not going to have insurance and da-da-da-da-da. Just, again, right intentions, but he knew how his dad was. And he was like, I had to wait to show him physically, like, hey, I'm doing this. Here's a loaf of bread, try it. And his dad liked it. And that now he has some belief, right? A lot of people, they get excited. Hey, man, let me tell you what I'm about to do. About to do this. Boom. And there may be people who actually end up being supportive. But a lot of people, they don't finish what they said they're going to do. So then you lose credibility. And then the next thing you do, I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't do it. Next, I wanted to talk about...
hot in this joint. I'm not even on front.
Huh?
So this job hot.
Yeah, it is. We'll make this one topic fairly quick, and then we'll bring it home with the last topic. But this is something that I think everyone can learn from, including us. Like, we're still learning this, and it's how do you balance an imbalanced schedule? It sounds like an oxymoron, right? But you'll get what I mean. We live in a world today where everyone is trying to get ahead, right? In your own career, to even position yourself to get a career. If you're like, say you're studying IT, getting your certs, you're in school, you're going to nursing school, medical school. People like Maria, shout out to Maria, she's getting her doctorate in physical therapy. Whatever it is you're grinding towards.
Clock
if
in.
you're going to be above average or great at something, you're going to have to sacrifice stuff, right? You're not going to always be balanced. But at the same time, there are responsibilities that if you neglect them, there's going to be consequences that you probably don't want. So there's a guy named Patrick, I think David, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. He's like business leader, motivational speaker.
I was listening to do an interview on Shaq yesterday. With Shaq yesterday.
Yeah,
he's great.
Yeah, he's really awesome. And he posted a clip of him interviewing Kobe, obviously, before everything happened. And he was like, Kobe, you're known for these ridiculous workout schedules and regimens, right? Like, you wake up at 4, shots at 5 in the morning, lift at 7, recover for an hour, go home, eat, take a nap, go back and do that again, and then you're asleep by like 8:30. You have a wife, and you have to, at the time I think he had he had 3 kids. He's like, how do you balance it all? And he was like, look, my family knows what my goals are, what I'm going after, right? And they understand, what I'm doing. And my wife tells them, Daddy is working hard because of this reason, and this is what he's going after. But when I get home, I can't say, hey, I'm too tired to play with you. I just did all this today. Like, nah, Bella, like, I'm going to go to bed. Like, I know you want to play, but I want to go to bed. So his point was, you can't be everywhere and to everybody and everything, but you can give your best with the time that you do have for what you're doing, right? And I think that, and David Goggins has talked about this a lot, you have to be comfortable being unbalanced. And if you have a plan, ideally, you're not going to always be that way. The goal is to become, to have an unbalanced schedule for however long you need to, so that you can free up your time to be able to do certain things. So, we talked about this on Sunday, man, with some of the things we're going after and how that may affect, different parts of our life. So, how do you, I'll have you touch on, like, how do you handle all this going on right now? And then I'll kind of talk about, my perspective of it.
It's simple for me. It's having a set list of priorities, communicating, but most importantly, the action. Like, that's what it comes down to. If I'm creating habits of working out, and here's the thing, even if I'm not communicating this, you know that the gym's important to me, so I'm going to work out at some point. You know that I like to do this podcast, I like to train, and these are things that are constructive, right? I'm not out here, going happy hours throughout. Like, putting in real work. So I would say having a list of priorities, and this is something that I'm working on in my sales career. Like, throughout the day or every day, I try to have a list of priorities of, like, all right, priority number 1, I got a call from 9 to 12. Number 2, I got a prospect. Number 3, I got to send emails, right? Like, each day having priorities. Because it organizes the day, but it makes it productive and it holds you accountable.
Right.
And not just, that obviously that's more, minute, but from a larger scale, like, you got to have those priorities set for your personal life. You have a family, so they know, all right, this is what you do, this is what's expected.
Yep.
Because again, we got sons, man. Like, all the stuff that I'm doing is just setting the stage, it's setting the example of, hey, if you have a goal and you want to make something better, you want to make generational changes, like, this is what you're gonna have to do. And if I wasn't doing that, then I wouldn't be credible, in chasing what I'm doing, and I wouldn't have, the trust from certain people. So again, setting those priorities, communicating to whoever it is that, may have to sacrifice, and then most importantly, the action, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's all great stuff, man. I agree with all of it. And I've seen you do it, right? Like, he's not just saying this off of theory. Like, this is off of real life, application. The only thing I really add is the vision and the goal, right? To me, especially if you have a family or a significant other, that's the North Star, right? That's the anchor, is that vision or goal. Because there's going to be times where, hey, I want to go, people see their friends traveling to Cancun and, Dominica, Africa. Shout out to Africa, man, the DSS. We haven't talked about the DSS a lot this year.
You haven't talked about it. You haven't.
I got to check on our membership because we've been slacking. But yeah, I want to go on dates every weekend, and I want to do these things, and I want to buy this. And when you're someone who's in that mode, you're gonna have to say no to a lot of stuff. First, so you gotta be okay saying no. You have to say no. But when you say no to something, whether that person understands it or not, you realize, like, look, this no is gonna lead to a lot of yeses down the road. This no is gonna, I'm saying no to this, but I'm saying yes to a financial foundation. I'm saying yes to, being able to pass down not just material things, but as Austin alluded to, we have sons that are looking at us, passing down habits, mindset, experience that they can use and apply to their lives. But if you don't have a goal, right, an end goal, and that end goal isn't like, excuse me, it isn't, this after we hit this we stop. But it's the thing you're striving for, right? You can explain that to people, but even to yourself, because there's gonna be times where you kind of have that mental ping pong, like, man, I really feel like I'm out of balance. I need to, spend a little bit more time here. And sometimes you do need to do that, right? You got to know your family situation or even yourself, right? Like if you haven't worked out in 2 weeks because you're grinding, like you got to be able to kind of recognize that. But I was talking to my boy Joe Blanks. Shout out to Joe. Really cool story. We got to have him on the pod someday. But we were talking today because he's single father, co-parents, and has 2 kids, and in sales like us, former college athlete, played football. One of his boys was doing football.
He didn't go to FAM, did he?
Nah, he went to Virginia Union.
Okay.
One of his boys was doing like football training, similar to like what we do for basketball, and he was like, we're talking about the importance of us as fathers, still pursuing our goals and not just focusing everything on our kids. Because a lot of parents do that, and that's why so many parents
have resentment.
Well, not only have resentment, but they ruin their kids' youth in life because they're so focused on them, being the best student, being the best athlete, being the best whatever, and it does build resentment for the kids, for that parent. Anyways, this boy was like, yeah, man, I feel like I'm spending too much time doing football training, and I'm just going to stop doing it. So he stopped doing it. I was like, well, how old was his son? His son was like 9.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I get your concern, right? However, it's not about you, and it's not about your son. I've been reading, daily devotional, and one of the things that's been coming up the last week is serving, right? A lot of people look at, serve ministry as, I need to be in the church doing something. Like, no, we all have a talent and a gift for something. We don't need to necessarily do it in church. Like what we're doing with the goods, we're serving, and there are people who need us. This podcast, we're serving. There are people who need us. So there's a kid who may need that guy to train him not only in football but in life lessons. But because he quit, there could be a kid who ends up going the street life, right? The street route, or ends up quitting and then quitting football, and then they could have got a scholarship, but instead they stay home. They stay home, getting involved in the wrong crowd, and then their life has changed. But this guy could have changed your life. So my point is, when you're unbalanced, you got to think about, what am I doing? And to me, from a spiritual perspective, like, serving should be the number one. Who am I serving, right? And then how is what I'm doing going to benefit the next generation? That's the next thing, right? So there are a lot of you who are probably having that mental ping pong, and especially for a lot of athletes, man. We talked about my boy. I talked to my boy Ryan Shauner and his nephew. A lot of y'all high school athletes, college athletes, even pro. Y'all got girlfriends, man, who want, especially these days with these girls, they want all your attention. And you're not going to the gym. You're not working out. You're not watching like football, whatever your craft is, whatever your sport is. Whatever your hobby is, it could be freaking music. I don't care. It could be video gaming, right? Like, whatever. I don't care. You can make money doing a lot of things. But a lot of you let your girl, or it could be your man, mess up your purpose and your dream, right? Oh, you're always at the gym. Okay, well, when I'm in the league, you're gonna. Then what are you gonna say? Oh my God. But if that's your mindset, you're definitely not going to be with me in the league. That's what I would say.
Priorities, man.
So yeah, man, I wanted to talk about that. And the last thing I'll say is, if you are out of balance, because some of you are, you got to learn how to subtract to change your life. Like, subtraction is way more important than addition. If you look at, you know, what's holding someone back, is usually not, they need to add something to their life. Usually you need to subtract something. So you should do a balance sheet on your life, right? Like, your assets versus your liabilities, right? Like, what's an asset in my life? What are assets? People, jobs. It could be books. It could be whatever, right? Doesn't have to necessarily be like physical assets. What are liabilities? Could be people. Could be, smoking, drinking. And then that's a way to kind of think about, what do I need to get rid of? What do I need to keep? And then what do I need to replace it with? Because if you look at your iPhone, right? Before you can add an app, or before you can do certain things, they say, what? You need to clear some storage. You don't got enough storage, champ. You got to clear some space. And that's something that, again, will make a big difference. So the Bring It Home topic presented by AIKO Underwood with the Risk Real Estate. We'll be quick on this one, is auditing your thoughts, right? Auditing your thoughts. This is just one example of how to audit your thoughts in relation to something that one of our followers asked us to talk about. I posted on the story, what do you guys want us to talk about? This person said ways to cope with anxiety, right? So there's a concept in the Bible saying you need to take every thought captive, meaning when something comes into your mind, you need to take hold of it and you decide, is it going to stay or go, right? Most of our thoughts, well, let's start here. What's influencing your thoughts? There's a lot of things that we learned as kids from parents, teachers, siblings, family members that have influenced our thoughts that aren't necessarily true. What we watch,
usually not true.
Yeah, what we watch,
usually not true.
What we listen to, who we listen to, our friends. Like, why am I thinking this way, right? And then from there, like, all right. Based on the thoughts that are coming in, is it a faith-based thought or is it a fear-based thought? If it's faith-based, well, let me stop. Let me take a step back. Fear is just faith that something bad is going to happen. So either way, you have faith. The other side of it is just you expect something good, right? Now, there's a difference between like your brain. And I've been listening to a podcast guy that's called Mindset Mentor. It's really good. He talks about how there are things that our brain is designed to like triggers warnings, right? So like if I walk past a lake and an alligator comes out, right? Now every time I walk past that lake, my brain is thinking, oh, and that alligator may come out. So it's designed to like alert us for danger. But what ends up happening is in real life, like, again, like dangerous things, there are things that aren't even close to even being real that we're worried about, right? So if you have anxiety, it's because you're not living in the moment. You're not living in the moment, and you're trying to control things that you don't have control over. Like, you literally don't have control over what's going to happen tomorrow. And they're just saying that depression is thinking about the past. Anxiety is being focused on the future. So, last thing I'll say is just take things one step at a time. Like Austin talked about when it came to finishing. I'm just in the moment. In The Last Dance, they said Michael Jordan, the thing that made him different from everybody is he had this remarkable ability to just be in the moment. That's it. He was just in the moment. All right. So episode 82.
Clock in.
Hopefully y'all got some good stuff from it.
Clock in.
Follow us on TikTok. Alright, I feel like a youngin' now. I'm on TikTok. It's Clockin510 is the TikTok. You follow us on YouTube. Search Clockin the podcast. Shout out to Luke for putting all the hard work on YouTube. Instagram is ClockinPod, CLOCKINPOD, and Facebook.
We on our Grussle.
Search Clockin the podcast, and then check out the website, man. ClockinPod.com. Brittany Wakeman put in a lot of hard work on it, and hit that Patreon, man. Show us some love, man.
And if you want to see who the best shooter is in the Hamilton family, at AHAM103. I repeat, at AHAM103.
Clock in. Clock in.
No, I don't feel that talking. Okay. We'll let the footage speak, man. Let the footage speak. We gotta have a series. We have a best of 7 series.
They wrote me off. I ain't right back, though. That's the problem. I ain't right back. Let's go.
Never wrote back.
Clock in.
Who wrote you off?
Clock in.
Who wrote you off? You was written off at with 10. I
That's what I'm
respect
saying.
that.
Come on.
But I wasn't in there. You feel me?
Clock in.
Yo? You gonna feel it next time.
Peace, man.
Alright, y'all. Love y'all. As always.
Clock in.
Let's get it.
Clock in.
Shout out to E on the beat.
We on our Grussle. I'm grinding